What's going on, everybody? The Arid Lord is here. Welcome back to another Season 9 vlog for The Walking Dead. And you might have noticed that these are a little more consistent, and that's because The Walking Dead is in a pretty exciting time period, just with the show and where it is, and I want to continuously pump out awesome content for you guys. I've been feeling a lot more into the show. I've been collaborating and talking to a lot of different other Walking Dead, YouTubers and even Instagrammers. It's been a really cool experience, and I'm hoping to showcase some of their artwork and other stuff in the future. But right now, we're going to do a little what if segment, and I want to do these maybe a little more frequently, maybe once a week, maybe if not twice a week. And I want to talk about what if scenarios where we pit different characters either against each other or discuss scenarios in which characters that are dead or are interacting with characters that are also dead, or characters that were once at a position of power and are no longer in that position any longer. Of course, with the latter metric, I'm of course referring to the Saviors and Negan when they were at the height of their power. I'm talking about Season 6, even before Daryl blew up those bikers with the rocket launcher. I'm talking Season 6, Episode 6, where that group of saviors with Wade, who we just never saw again. Remember the guy who chopped off the other guy's arm? Remember, he's like, Wade, I'm bit. And when Daryl first encountered Dwight, yeah, that guy never actually came back to the show. And I actually found the actor who plays him and tweeted him and said, are you coming back? And he said, I'm under obligation and can't say. Well, considering the Saviors are dead and gone, as the JT song goes, I'm pretty sure he's never coming back. The Saviors are completely gone, and they're immersed into other communities, and it's basically over. If there was a chance of him coming back, it would be for Season 8. Last year, that's what I was kind of thinking, but now that All Out War and the whole Saviors arc is done, and now that we're in the Whispers, there is absolutely zero reason for him to show up. But wouldn't that be interesting, though, if not only Wade, but if many other Saviors were still at the height of their power as we speak? So fast forward 6 years in the Walking Dead timeline. Let's say either the Saviors win, Eugene doesn't backfire the bullets, or there's some scenario, maybe Rick's group doesn't encounter the Saviors, they live in a different region, whatever. Let's just imagine that Rick's group, the Hilltop, the Kingdom, that they're still subjected under the Saviors. Let's say after Season 7, Episode 8, Rick never decides to fight the Saviors. He just decides we're just going to keep scavenging for them and giving them supplies. So the Saviors remain a tyrannical force. What if they encountered the Whisperers 6 years later? What if they're going on supply runs? Simon, Gavin, they're going on supply runs, and all of a sudden they start noticing the walkers acting strangely, and one of their soldiers dies, like similar to how Jesus dies when he goes to swipe the guy with the sword and he ducks. Jesus thinks he's a zombie, but he's actually a whisperer. He ducks and stabs him. So I imagine some saviors might die because of the trickery with the masks. But what if? What if it was Alpha and Beta versus Negan, Simon, and Gavin? The saviors, when they were at the height of their power, multiple outposts, the sanctuary, and all of the communities that were subjugated, giving them food and resources. I think it's pretty fair to assume that Negan would win, all right? And we're talking just pure firepower here, okay? I don't think Alpha would have been able to do what she did. Let's say she loses her daughter's captured by Negan. Now, Negan is a merciful guy. He would not kill Lydia. He would probably do kind of like what he did to Sasha. Remember when Sasha was captured at the end of Season 7? He did a little test when Rapey Davey tried to Rapey Davey do his Rapey Davey thing. He killed Rapey Davey, and then he left the knife there for her to put him down before he became a walker. She did that, didn't try to use the knife against him, and it was like test number 1 of proving her loyalty to Negan. Obviously, that little relationship didn't go any farther because she suicided herself with a bunch of pills to get the upper hand. However, if we're talking Lydia, I assume that Negan would be merciful. However, he wouldn't put up for the whole child crying thing, the whole drama act that she did for Daryl in particular in the most recent episode when Lydia's in the mid-season premiere of season 9 when she's brought to the hilltop. And that first episode where she's scared and crying before Henry starts to get to know her, Daryl throws her up against the gate. He threatens to drag her up, and she's like grabbing to the bars. This is before she really wrestled with her memories and she was just lying to the group. So I don't think Simon, Negan, they wouldn't have put up with that. They would have said, you're going to tell us where your group is, and then we're going to wipe. See, the thing is, they wouldn't be able to subjugate the Whisperers is the only thing. They wouldn't be able to subjugate them because the Whisperers are animals that don't serve. They wouldn't serve anybody. They would go out dying like animals before they would ever serve the Saviors. So if it came to a situation where they're all held at gunpoint, I'm pretty sure Alpha would be like, oh, natural selection, and I guess animals die as well, so we're just going to die just like this. But the other thing is Alpha's cunning. She's cunning. She's got a double-barrel shotgun. I know when you've got 50, 100 Saviors that all got machine guns, I'm pretty sure it's going to be difficult to go against that. But I think she would be cunning. She would use the advantage of probably the Walkers. And if we're going to assume that the comics is going to follow the Whisperers as they are portrayed, Alpha has at her disposal a ginormous horde of Walkers, thousands of Walkers that she's gathered from years of limbering around and being a brain-dead zombie. She has acquired a massive group of these things. And that would be her only real weapon. If she descended these Walkers upon the Saviors, I think the Saviors would have a very big challenge ahead of them. Now, the Saviors don't just have one. They don't have one place of operations. They have the sanctuary. They had the satellite station outpost. They had that church outpost where the gunfight was in All Out War. I'm trying to think of what other places that they had. They had many other outposts. There was the outpost with the machine gun, the LMG machine gun is, where Carol was hiding in the floorboards. There was that. There's multiple outposts. Not only that, they could use the Kingdom, Hilltop, and Alexandria as extra outposts and fortifications, almost like castles, to divert Walkers away, fortify men in case Whisperers show up there. They would definitely prepare themselves well, and for them, it would be a matter of not wanting to waste a lot of firepower. They'd probably use explosives. They would use their weapons, but it would be a matter of using them wisely, using their resources, using explosives, gunpowder, because that's their advantage. Guns, explosives, vehicles, like anything that's civilized that people would use, they would have that advantage. And the Whisperers would be like guerrilla fighters. They would have to hide amongst the Walkers. They would have to use them as almost like a shield, as like a phalanx shield. And they would need to hide and basically get as close as they can to these communities. Let the sheer number of Walkers do the business. We did see in All Out War when Rick got that Walker horde around the sanctuary, they couldn't get out and they were trapped. However, that was because that was a very well-coordinated plan with Dwight in order to trap all of the leaders there. And it was a situation that Rick, he set that whole thing up. So I'm pretty sure the Saviors would be in a better position to not be trapped. They would spread their forces out. They would have a game plan. Because that was the whole reason Rick was able to win, because he caught the Saviors off guard. He trapped them at the sanctuary, and when they were leaderless, he went to all the outposts and wiped out the Saviors that were at the outposts. So it would be a tough fight. I do think the Saviors would come on top, though. I just think that the way the Whisperers it would just be tough, because you need to think, like I said before, would the Saviors run out of resources? Or will the Whisperers, because as soon as the Saviors start running out of ammunition and they have to resort to melee weapons, then that becomes tricky, because then the Whisperers can use their hidden tactics and the knives up their sleeves to win. Like hand-to-hand combat, you're gonna lose against the Whisperers. And as also due to the fact that you not only have Alpha, but you got Beta, this brute, this absolute giant brute like tank. You got to consider that he's a pretty visceral fighter. So it'd be a tough fight, but I'm going to have to give the slight edge to the Saviors, okay? Because Simon and Gavin and Negan, those are some brilliant minds, and then also I guess Regina. I mean, we never saw her leading her own community, but Simon and Gavin, we saw leadership from them. We saw leadership from Negan, of course. It was of the tyrannical sort, but we definitely saw leadership from them. And also Dwight. Dwight was also kind of in charge of his own force. You got Laura. You had a lot of different saviors. And they gave a lot of time to, Alden, and you have multiple saviors. Then you got the crazy ones like Jared, the one who killed Henry's older brother. So you'd have a lot of crazy saviors, a lot of saviors who know violence, who they're cocky. That's the only thing. The saviors would be very cocky, and I think it would be an interesting question: would the saviors' cockiness be their downfall? They're just like, oh, it's just a bunch of walkers, and oh, these are just savages with knives who wear walker skin. There's no way they'll beat us, and maybe their cockiness will be their downfall. Although Negan runs a very tight ship. Negan and Simon ran a tight ship. It started to go downhill because of defectors, Eugene and Dwight. I'd say that the big reason the Saviors lost, at least in the show, is Eugene and Dwight. Eugene with all the guns backfiring, and of course Dwight was giving Rick and Daryl a blueprint the whole way of how to beat the Saviors. So if you don't have any defectors that are giving the Whisperers information, I think they're screwed. So anyway, that's just a quick vlog from me, a what-if scenario. If there are other what-if scenarios you guys would like me to do these on, please let me know, and I will do a video about it. And I think it would be a great series to do moving forward. And I hope you guys agree with me. So as this progresses, as the season progresses, I'll get a better sense of the Whisperers. Do they have that giant zombie horde from the comics? Because then I can really compare show to show, and this video will have probably aged a lot better by then. So, okay, thank you guys. Look forward to more content. I cannot wait for episode 12 this Sunday. Hope it's a good one, and thanks for watching. Peace out.